Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Clark, and I'm one of the counseling interns at Asbury University's Counseling Center. Today, I wanted to bring to you a little bit of information about how mental health is impacted by our exercise routines, or lack thereof. Now, ordinarily, we would be bringing you some kind of seminar format in live, in person. But alas, we are doing our due diligence to social distance, so we're coming to you from our bedrooms and our offices. I wanted to specifically volunteer for the exercise part because I wanted to highlight how important exercise is for all of us. Um, I'm not the kind of person to do exercise anything, so I wanted to point out that it's vital for our mental health, and I wanted to make you think about how exercise is impacting, or the lack thereof, how it's impacting your mental health. So to do that, I wanted to come up with four useful, hopefully helpful tips to see how mental health is impacted by our exercise. So for me, the first tip of four is setting a goal. I have set a goal to run a half marathon. We'll see by the end of the year. I've never done any kind of distance running, but I wanted to just highlight that it's more about setting a goal than it is necessarily about achieving it. We'll talk more about that later. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about is setting a goal. So I've set this goal, but I've set smaller chunked goals before I meet the half marathon deadline at the end of the year. So originally I was going to run the Wesley Waddle. That's next week. And I've been practicing and prepping for that. I got some shoes and I downloaded an app and immediately didn't use it. But I did some things to help me get on the right track. I have signed up for a 10K at Halloween this year. Hopefully, that'll still be on the books, with the hopes of then working my way towards a half marathon by the end of the year. I wanted to do this for several reasons, mostly because I need exercise for my own mental health, but also partially have family and relatives that like to run, and I wanted to have another way to connect with them. Which brings me to the next point of having people to work with, having that accountability partner with you. It's really good to have that boost that having people around you, coming around beside you for this goal, brings to you. For me, that person is my wife. She is an excellent runner. She runs regularly. She puts me to shame. And I know that I don't have to be as good as her with running. I, I just need to be doing it. Um, she is encouraging me by checking in on me, sometimes even running with me, starting off the day together running. For others of you, this video is mostly for college students. So it could be people that you run with regularly when you were here on campus. You're doing something with them, like maybe over the phone. Um, if running's not your thing, that's fine. There's other exercise videos, and that's not this point. Is to give exercise tips. It's more about talking about the fundamentals of how it impacts you. So one piece that's important about this is not only does it impact you, but it impacts the people that you invite to be with you in this process. It shares some of that bond, and it begins to build some relations with people. You could start with running 6 feet of distance apart together, maybe, and then balance that out with going getting a pretzel if stores were open. So then making brownies at home. So it's really important to have that camaraderie and have those people with you beside you that helps make this whole process doable, which is what we're going for. After we have set a goal and after we have incorporated some people with us, some kind of accountability of some kind, then we move into measuring out the things that we want to achieve. So for me, I can measure when I go run in the morning and when I don't. I can take a look at that and say, good, I did it this day. I didn't do it this day. That's okay. It's not so much about having more days that I actually go and run than it is about actually making sure that I'm keeping honest with myself and not lying to myself about, well, I don't need to run today, or I don't need to go this day. Sometimes it's too cold. Perfectly fine. Make sure that I'm doing other things to help out with getting that done. I need to have measurements in place. Sometimes it's easy enough as a scale or some tape to see inches lost, doing a BMI kind of measurement. But for me, it's more about making sure that I have something tangible to touch, something that I can look at and see that I'm making progress. That's what I'm looking for. Once we begin to have those little wins, then we get to move into how we begin to notice that it's not so much about, did I make it to the end? Did I make it to the half marathon? It's more important that I'm paying attention to the journey along the way. I'm building new habits. I'm building in new structure into my life. I'm changing the way that I do things, because the way I was doing things was leading to a little extra tummy, a little extra tummy. And we don't need that. And it's important to remember that balance is a big part of this. I like ice cream, but I also like being around for a really long time for my family and to help people. I love helping people. And in order to do so, I need to be healthy so I can be around longer to do so. So then, with having a goal in place, having people around you to help make sure that you get your goals achieved to a certain extent, at least, having a set of measurements to see how you are doing, how you aren't doing, and then having a reflection time to look back and see that, oh, and maybe I didn't run that half marathon. Maybe I wasn't able to lift as much weight that you set a goal for. I still got out and did something. I made things happen. And I incorporated people along the way. So now I have a community around me that maybe it's focused on exercise at this time, but you can branch that out. Other people in Mental Health Matters are talking about other parts of these 4 pillars of mental health that we're talking about. The 4 pillars being how is your diet? How are you exercising? How are you sleeping? And how are your relationships? So we've all incorporated relationships into the different pillars that we've been talking about. In this case, it's really important to have with you people, because otherwise getting exercise done is hard for a lot of people, especially people like me. But this is hopefully a way to help maybe set up a goal. Some of these steps might be useful. Some of them might not be. Throw out the ones that aren't, bring in the ones that are. And good luck with it, honestly. It's really important to see that you're making progress through this process. I hope this has been helpful. This has been this edition of Mental Health Matters, the exercise edition. Please stay tuned to this channel for more content. Stick around for other things coming up from Asbury University Center for Wholeness and Wellness. Thank you for joining us today.